France and the French culture are under threat as the extremists take to the streets, and we talk about the second national lockdown in the UK. Well, I'm sure you've seen all the sad scenes over the last few days from France, and essentially, as we know, France is under attack. And it's not the first time. Everybody's being complacent as usual because everyone is now distracted with other problems that we're dealing with, from the lockdown to everything else around the world. The biggest problem in this whole situation is that when you have Islamists and others coming all the way to Europe, especially Western Europe, in masses, there's a difference between general people who come from various places in the Middle East and those who come on purpose to destroy the culture and the civilization that we have, is that people on the left, the liberal left and the establishment, have been very complacent for the past few decades, and some of them are finally waking up, but not all. But it's been a very, very bad week for France, and the reason that it matters that we from Britain talking about it is because France is the frontier when it comes to the Western civilization, and as a symbol of free speech and democracy, because this could happen anywhere, and just like France, it could start happening in London, it could start happening in America again, just like how it happened before. We have these situations right now where the radicals and Islamists have been causing trouble. People are losing their lives, and then they're coming out, protesting, burning the French flags. Why? Because Macron, as president, decided to stand up against them. And it makes absolutely no sense. These are the people who are actually in Europe. These are the people who France, the UK, Germany, and all these other countries gave them a safe home, essentially. But not only they're not respecting that, they're taking the side of the crazies. They're coming out and attacking Emmanuel Macron. We have a number of scenes from the streets of France protesting, boycotting France. But not only that, in London, we've had a massive protest by people who are essentially sympathizing with what the crazies have done, the extremists. And the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, didn't do much. Sadiq Khan was very strong against the lockdown protests and other protests, but not necessarily the woke ones, whether it's the BLM movement or these guys. They just did their thing. They were outside the French embassy, saying a lot of bad things, threatening France and the French government, and no one was there to actually defend the rights. Everybody, obviously, on Twitter did the hashtag I stand with France, but nothing happened on the streets. And this is actually spreading. So what I decided to do the next day, which was yesterday now, alongside my good friends Lawrence Fox, Brendan O'Neill, Emma Webb, and a number of others, we actually went to the French embassy to show solidarity, because I know these sort of things are symbolic, but someone has to do it for the idiots and the crazies to know that France is not alone. We are all in this together. And if the establishment aren't going to do anything about it, ordinary people have to. Luckily, in France, Emmanuel Macron, with all his flaws, is very good on this issue. He is not apologizing. He's not making a U-turn. He's standing up for the values, the Western culture and the French values. And he's been very robust in a very recent interview over the past couple of days with one of the French TVs. And he made it clear that if you plan to come here to change our culture, we're not going to just stand and watch what you do to the country. Let's watch this clip and then come back.
Ils enseignent qu'il ne faut pas respecter la France, qu'il ne faut pas respecter notre droit, qu'il faut en quelque sorte sortir de nos lois. Ils enseignent que les femmes ne sont pas l'égale des hommes. Ils enseignent que les petites filles ne doivent pas avoir les mêmes droits que les petits garçons. Pas chez nous. Je vous le dis très clairement. Pas chez nous. Nous croyons dans les Lumières. Et les citoyennes ont les mêmes droits que les citoyens. C'est existentiel. Et donc, jamais, 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 je n'accepterai une association, quand bien même elle le ferait au nom d'une religion, qui pousserait ses droits. En tout cas, qui dirait, une petite fille n'est pas l'équivalent d'un petit garçon. Elle n'aura pas le même enseignement, on ne lui donnera pas les mêmes chances. Parce que ça n'est pas notre droit. Les gens qui croient ça, qu'ils aillent le faire ailleurs, pas sur le sol français. Donc je dis, ces groupes-là qui, sur notre sol, veulent instaurer leurs droits, séparer une partie de la société, nous devons lutter contre eux, très clairement. Parce qu'ils décident.
Yes, and this is actually very fascinating because I want to hear this from all the Western leaders. But at this point, it's primarily Emmanuel Macron and Donald Trump talking about this as presidents, elected presidents. And it's a very sad situation because I know firsthand how bad this could get because, again, most of you know because I've been repeating myself for months and months. My background is Persian, my family are from Iran, and simply because after the Iranian Revolution in 1979, the country and the culture completely shifted. Before that, we had a secular constitutional monarchy with the Shah. You know, wasn't a perfect system at the time, but it was trying to evolve and modernize. But it moved from having a liberal society to a crazy authoritarian religious society, which didn't really help. And because my family didn't want to have anything to do with that ideology of that religion, they couldn't stay and they had to flee. And obviously now we're here safe and sound, and this is why my mission is to make sure that Europe doesn't turn into Iran. Do not turn Britain, do not turn France into another Iran. It could happen. We are so complacent just because we currently have our freedoms and, you know, to an extent, and our democracy, we think this will never happen here. People won't tolerate it. Well, if they want to impose, as Macron said, their rights and their values, if you don't stop them now, it will eventually happen. The complacency in the establishment, the elites, has been very visible over the past few decades, especially recent years, and somebody has to stand up for the silent majority, the people who don't want things to change. This is not a whole situation, and what they're doing is that they're dividing society where anybody else who's actually a moderate, who's normal, but from the same region, whether it's the Middle East or North Africa, then they will be in the same category. And it's also those people, the moderates, the normal people, who come from the Middle East, come from North Africa and other places. Instead of being quiet and silent, you have to speak out. You have to stand up against the crazies. Otherwise, no one will know which side you're on. Are you on the side of the Western civilization and our culture, or on their side? So this is a problem that we have, and it's been quite sad. Yesterday I didn't manage to actually make a video for you guys because obviously we did the embassy visit and a number of issues, and my family and I started getting warnings from the extremists, so I had to deal with that. A lot of threats on social media, but also they contacted my home, so that wasn't pleasant. But I don't care. I will still continue to fight for our values and our rights. Now, talking about our home here, moving from France, we just had the latest news yesterday. Boris Johnson has introduced another national lockdown. Right, at this point, everybody's frustrated. Some people are still cautious and they think this is the right solution. Some people think it's not the right solution. What I've discovered over the past day or so, when this was actually announced, it's been quite sad because you guys get in touch with me on Twitter, Instagram, and emails. I've been getting a lot of sad and dark and very concerning messages. People who are struggling already. People have been telling me about their family members and themselves considering or have unfortunately decided to end their life, and people losing their jobs, people who have other illnesses, whether it's cancer or other issues, mental health, are not getting treated, and things are just going to get worse for the next month at least. They've said that this will go until December, and Boris Johnson tried to clarify that this is the last time I want to do this, but again, they've changed their mind before. I don't want to talk about the political side of this, politics, the decision. We have been talking about this every day on this channel. At this point, I just want to send a message to those who are struggling. We went through this the first time. Not everybody survived, unfortunately. A lot of people have lost their lives, decided not to actually be patient. It's been quite difficult to deal with all the problems, but we are all in this together. Don't worry, guys. And as I've said to a number of you, feel free to send me a Twitter DM or email me if you're struggling, and I'll definitely respond to you guys. And if I have to, well, we're not allowed to actually meet, so I can't really. if the marshals are watching this, I'm not going to meet anyone who's not from my household, but send me a message. I'll have a chat with you, whether it's FaceTime, if you accidentally bump into you in Sainsbury's, that's legal, I think. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to try my best to do more content on this channel every day as of tomorrow, because I know that everyone's going to be at home now. So I want to make sure that you guys are well informed with everything that's been happening, but also a bit distracted. I'm going to keep it light-hearted for the next few weeks and talk about what's actually happening in the news, because the mainstream media aren't really helping. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I was going to do the beginning of the video, but Poppy Appeal campaign are struggling this year because of the lockdown measures and social distancing measures. So we've decided to actually intervene and get involved and raise money for them in a different way. So I'm doing a live stream on Wednesday, this Wednesday coming, on 4th of November at 6 p.m. on this channel. We have a number of special guests. So some of you might be having a lot of questions from some of them. We've got Steve Baker, MP, who's been had an interesting ride. Tom Harwood from Guido Fawkes, Emily Hewitson, and Lacey, which my producer, will be moderating it. I'll put the link, the details, the Eventbrite in the description, because obviously we want to raise money, so only those who can register and sign up for a ticket can actually watch this. It's only £3 donation. It's nothing crazy. So if you would like to join us on Wednesday, 4th of November, 6 p.m. A live stream, we're going to talk about a number of issues, but also take your questions live there. Then feel free to check out the link in the description, sign up, and we'll take it from there. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, become a member. You get a lot of perks and benefits, including 10% discount for our merchandise. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.